Rebound Redux podcast. This is day 2 of the podcast. And today we are going to be breaking down a few NBA teams, just like giving our opinions on how good they will be next season. So, Jaden, what teams do you have in mind?
The 76ers, Milwaukee Bucks, and Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay, so which team do you want to break down first?
The 76ers.
Okay, so I'm going to give my honest opinion about the 76ers. I think they will perform just a little bit better than they did last year. I think they will make it to about the semifinals. I think they will lose though. I think they will either lose to the Boston Celtics or the Milwaukee Bucks. I just think with the Bucks being fully healthy, I think that they will be able to beat the 76ers, and I think Boston has a little bit too much star power for the 76ers. So, what are your opinions?
I personally have the 76ers going to the conference finals. I don't know against who or they're going to win. I just have them going to the conference finals.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I could see a world. I don't know. I just don't see it happening. I mean, they've underperformed in the playoffs every single year.
Yeah, you're right. They obviously have some great players in Joel Embiid, James Harden, who's a baby, Tyrese Maxey, I think he's gonna be very good next year. Joel Embiid, obviously gonna be top 3 in MVP voting.
Yeah, I think the top 3 MVP voting will be Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, I believe that. It's gonna be the Eastern Conference is gonna be absolutely stacked next year. It's gonna be great to see, and we're covering 3 Eastern Conference teams in this video.
So let's get on to the next team. And do you want to break down the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Milwaukee Bucks?
We will be breaking down the Milwaukee Bucks next.
So I think the Bucks obviously have one of the best players in the league, Giannis Antetokounmpo, a very physical player, very great defender, very great at finishing. The jump shot is what he needs to work on, and he has no bag.
At all. No bag at all, really. I mean, obviously he doesn't have post moves. He's just physical. No bag.
I do
He's
like
still a
Giannis.
great player.
Yeah, he is still a great player. He is still obviously putting up about 34 and 12 each night. Obviously one defensive player of the year. He has 2 MVPs. He has a ring. He has my fault, bro.
It's glazing so hard.
Yeah, let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, Giannis this, Giannis that. Giannis is the MVP.
You said everything in the book about Giannis.
Are we gonna restart?
No, keep going.
All right. Yeah, I think Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Brooke Lopez, and Pat Connaughton. I think that's the ideal starting lineup for the Milwaukee Bucks. And I think they bring in actually a lot more shooting than people think. Chris Middleton is an excellent shot creator. Drew Holiday, an excellent defender. And he can still give you something on offense. Obviously, he's a solid passer. He's a solid three-point shooter. And
They
I think
also have Marjan Beauchamp coming back in his sophomore year.
sophomore year?
Mm-hmm.
Sophomore year? Bro, this is at high school.
Bro, second year. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with who that is, but can I get some more info on who that is?
Watch Bucks Summer League highlights. You'll know real fast.
Okay, I will do that after this podcast is over, but yeah, obviously the Bucks are always a contender every year. I mean, everybody knows that. And I think they're just a great team all around.
Yeah, I mean, they're a pretty good team. Yeah, they're always decent. Besides, losing in 5. But moving past that, um, I think they're
Shut
gonna.
up.
I think they're gonna be great next year. Probably the 1 or 2 seed, and I think they're gonna end up making the semifinals at least.
I think they will make the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know. They could lose that, they could win it. It just depends on their matchup. But with that, we're going to move on to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
I think the Cleveland Cavaliers have a really good backcourt with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. And I think their front court's pretty good too, with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, obviously two of the best defenders in the league. And one guy that is really impressive in the summer league, Monty Bates, the draft pick out of Eastern Michigan. Obviously he was arrested on some gun charges, but ever since then he has been doing very good. He had a really solid year at Eastern Michigan, and he did start to get some recognition over there as he was hitting some crazy shots. As you can see, he did go off against Michigan early in the season. That one was at Little Caesars Arena. But I'm not trying to get too off topic into it. But yeah, with that being said, the Cleveland Cavaliers are a very good team, and I think bringing in Max Strus is big for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Um, that he could be a starter. He could maybe be a six man. Who knows? But Jaden, what are your opinions?
I honestly see Imani Bates as kind of like Mikal Bridges with not quite enough defense yet.
I can kind of see that comparison, but
Probably a little better shot creating.
yeah, a little better. Amani Bates is not a catch and shoot type of player. He is more of I would compare him more to Katie than Mikal Bridges, but yeah,
Yeah, I can kind of see Chris Middleton in him too
uh,
with the
he's
shot
he,
creating.
he's a bit too tall for Chris Middleton. I mean, the
He's like
length.
a little taller.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the best comparison for him is Kevin Durant.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, but
Um, Obviously their backcourt is amazing.
yeah, with Garland and Mitchell, obviously Mitchell being one of the better guards in the league.
they I think they just need a little more perimeter defense and they can be better. Because obviously they have plenty of scoring and playmaking. Garland is like a walking 15 and 10. Mitchell can give you 40 any night.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell did score 70 last year in a regular season game. Donovan Mitchell, I mean, he's an elite scorer, elite dunker. I mean, I think if he keeps going like this, I think he will be better than Ja Morant, obviously, because Mitchell never really gets in trouble off the court. He does play most games. He's never really injured. So I think Mitchell gives you a lot of production.
Yeah, he's a better role model. He's really positive. Um, he's obviously one of the best players in the NBA. Cavs fans love him. They also love
Yeah,
Garland.
I think they traded Mitchell for Sexton, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was I think I think the Jazz got finessed in that one.
yeah. Seeing with how Mitchell did so good this year, I definitely think the Cavs won that trade.
And it obviously shows. I mean, obviously I'm not trying to go too off topic, but we're just going to dive into this for just a split second. I think the Utah Jazz did fall off after losing Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. I mean, two of their best players.
Yeah, I think they definitely missed like the shot creating and great scoring by Donovan Mitchell.
And then they missed the defensive. stuff for Rudy Gobert. I mean,
I
Rudy
think they
Gobert.
have. I think they have those two players kind of back though for their future, in Walker Kessler and Keontae George. But they're obviously gonna have to develop for a few years to be even at that caliber.
I do think Walker Kessler could be better than Rudy Gobert. I do think Rudy Gobert is a bit overrated though. I'm
Yeah,
not trying to bash him, but I do think he's a bit overrated.
yeah, same. I think he gets overpaid for his rim protection when it's really not even better than a guy like Giannis.
It's not. I mean, looking at it, I mean, Gobert's a very good defender, but so is Giannis. Giannis gives you more on the.
Honestly, Brooke Lopez is kind of just as good.
I wouldn't go. I wouldn't say all of
Brooke
that.
Lopez
Brooke
is a
Lowe,
great rim protector.
he is a great rim protector, but we are getting a little bit off topic, so we need to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, I mean, their front court also. Um, the defense in their front court, there's really not a lot you can score in the paint.
What are your thoughts on Max Strus?
I think he's a great shooter. He just kind of is a little inconsistent at times.
Yeah, he does lack a lot of consistency. Other than that, though, he's very fine. I mean, I don't think that was a bad trade for Chetty. I mean, obviously, Chetty Osman is an OG type of player for the Cavs, but I mean, he wasn't doing much for Cleveland, and Max Strus has been pretty solid at Miami, so I don't think that's that bad of a trade.
Yeah, honestly. Um, are we done with the Cavs?
Oh yeah, and also Lamar Stevens too. They did trade Lamar Stevens as well, along with Osman. Lamar Stevens was a very good rising star, but I still think Max Strus is better than the both.
Yeah.
And
So,
yes, we are done.
so we're gonna be moving on to college
College best.
basketball conference breakdown. Today we will be doing the Big 12.
Okay, so for the Big 12, I think the best team is going to be Kansas by a long shot.
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
think I think with Hunter Dickinson transferring in, it's already just too much for other teams. I mean, enough said.
Honestly, they're gonna be great next year. Obviously, they also have Texas and TCU, but
I think Texas will be good. I think they will regress a little bit, though. I think they will be about a 4 seed in March Madness.
yeah, I mean they they also have Baylor.
Um, Baylor, I don't think they'll be that great next
Baylor
year, to be honest.
Baylor is
I think
working
Baylor
on a
will.
deal to play a different team this upcoming season.
Who is the team?
The Michigan State Spartans, which you do not see them play very often.
They did play him in the whatever that one turn, the Bad Boy Mowers tournament a few years ago
Oh
with
yeah,
Baylor
they did.
dominating.
Yeah,
But
Baylor
that was
dominated.
but obviously Baylor was really good that year.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, yeah, TCU. I think they could be a solid team. Nowhere near the level of Kansas, though. I do think Kansas and Texas will be the two best teams.
Yeah. I think Kansas is probably going to be a 1 seed. They're going to be great with.
I think Kansas will be a 1 seed. I think that will be the only 1 seed coming out of the Big 12.
Yeah, I think Texas ends up being like a 4 seed, like you said.
I
TCU
think
going to be like a 6.
6 or 7. I think similar to last year.
Yeah, I think they have Mike Miles returning.
And I think Baylor will be an 8 or 9 seed. So just a mid, like solid team, you know.
Yeah, I think they'll be solid. Um, there's really not much to talk about them besides the fact Kansas is really going to win this conference with ease.
Yeah, I don't see any other teams being that great other than the ones we just mentioned. And we did not mention Kansas State.
Oh, yeah, Kansas State's going to be solid.
I think they will not be even close to as good as they were last year, though. Obviously, losing Keontae Johnson and Marquise Noel, two of their best players.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know a whole lot about Kansas State, but I think they'll be like 11 or 12 seed.
Yeah, I think they'll be like a 9 or a 10 seed. I don't think 11 or 12. But yeah, I think they will be a 9 or a 10 seed. I think they can go decently far.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think that's it for the Big 12.
yeah. We can look at some of the Pac-12 if you would like.
For college, the Pac-12 is an interesting conference.
Yeah,
We can look at that. So obviously, the first team that stands out to me are the USC Trojans.
yeah,
Boogie
for
Ellis,
sure.
Boogie Ellis, Bronny James, Isaiah Collier, three absolutely studs.
Yeah, and Matt Peterson, I think, coming back also.
It is Drew Peterson actually.
Oh, Drew Peterson, my fault.
Yeah, Drew Peterson, obviously a very oversized point guard. Just was okay last season, but I think he'll give the Trojans a lot more this season. Bronny James, he's LeBron's son. Enough said.
They
Isaiah
got a whole lot
Collier.
of guards with not a lot of everything else.
Yeah, I think their guard play will be probably the best in the country.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I don't know what else is really in the Pac-12.
Arizona, UCLA,
Oh yeah, UCLA. I think they'll be pretty good.
UCLA. I think Arizona will be solid.
Yeah, I think Arizona is gonna slightly decline, but
Yeah, I think ever since Arizona lost in the first round to Princeton, I think people just have forgot about them.
yeah, like they've really not been talked about. And any other thoughts on teams?
In the Pac-12, no, not really.
All right,
So we will move on to the.
NFL.
Okay, we're doing only two conferences.
For the NFL, we're doing a division.
All right. So which division?
The AFC East, the Patriots, Bills, Dolphins, and Jets.
All right. So right off the bat, I think the Bills will win it.
Yeah, me too.
Josh Allen, obviously, arguably the best QB.
I mean, yeah, obviously he's top 5, top 3, most likely.
Yeah. Very good QB, and then you got Gabriel Davis, a very good wide receiver. Um, you also got some other receivers that I can't think of right now.
Stephon Diggs.
Stefon Diggs, yeah, sorry. Stefon Diggs, obviously, very good receiver. Hasn't been as good as he was in recent years, though, but still, obviously, a very good receiver. Great route
Dawson.
runner.
You got Dawson Knox, but yeah,
Dawson Knox is an okay receiver.
yeah. Their O line is not bad. I really
Yeah,
think
it
they
really
need to improve like their
running the ball.
yeah, running the ball and defense
Yeah, I think
defensively
their
in the
defense.
playoffs.
Yeah, I mean they do give up a lot of points.
Yeah, they're kind of like the 76ers.
Of football, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Um really
I mean, they do have the same colors as well.
um I don't know. The AFC is really good. So, I
The
really
AFC
don't
is pretty
know.
good, but for the AFC East, I think the Dolphins will be good. Tua Tagovailoa was pretty solid for the Dolphins last year. He did be better than a lot of people expected. And obviously, you have Tyreek Hill, one of the best. You have Jalen Waddle, a very good wide receiver. And that is about all I can think of.
They got Jalen Ramsey also in a trade.
They did,
Um,
yeah, I forgot about that. They did get Jalen Ramsey, so brings a bit to defense. Then I think they do have I know there's somebody I'm forgetting.
yeah, I feel like there's somebody for forgetting.
Let me look this up real quick. Hold on.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think they're probably gonna finish second in the division behind the Bills. They're um they're obviously a very, very high powered offense. Their passing game, great. Their rushing game, not as good, but it's
And
still
there was
okay.
there was somebody else forgetting. They have yeah, Xavier Howard. I think he's a very talented cornerback.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's great at getting interceptions. Um,
I think the Dolphins' corners are going to be pretty good next year. I think their defense will be improved.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Um,
I think they're a playoff team.
yeah, me too. Moving on to the Patriots. Um, they're really not that much of an interesting team.
Yeah, I mean Mac Jones. I think Bailey Zappi is the better quarterback than Mac Jones. Mac Jones just honestly does not interest me. But obviously, um, yeah, New England's just an okay team. They'll maybe make the wild card at best.
Yeah, this division's pretty good. I think the Patriots are probably the worst because we also have the Jets to talk about.
And yeah, I think the New York Jets are a very good team.
Yeah, the New York Jets obviously have Aaron Rodgers coming in, and
Yeah.
they have Garrett Wilson, who just had a great rookie season.
Yeah, the rookie from Ohio State, and Ohio State always produces very good wide receivers.
They also have Brees Hall coming back, which should
Brees
be
Hall, yeah,
solid.
the Iowa State dude. Brees Hall is a very good receiving back.
Yeah, I overall think they're going to be really good. They did lose Elijah Moore this year.
I say like an 11-6 season.
Yeah, I think this division is going to have three playoff teams.
Yeah, I actually I think 11-6 is a bit. Yeah, I think I'd say 10-7.
Yeah, I mean it's really tough to have three playoff teams from one division, but
Yeah, it really is. But this is one of the best divisions or in NFL. Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, very talented, and I think that concludes it, right? That division.
yeah, that concludes that division. We are now gonna move on to the college football. Um,
So for college football, are we gonna do divisions?
the conference we're gonna be
Yeah,
talking about.
conferences. My fault.
We're gonna
Yeah,
be
for
talking about the
conferences,
Big Ten.
S. I think the SEC is way better than the Big Ten, but we can talk about the Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean,
Um, Big Ten. I think the best team will be Ohio State or Michigan. Probably Michigan. I mean, bringing back Blake Corum, JJ McCarthy, Donovan Edwards, Roman Wilson.
yeah, I mean that team's obviously gonna be very stacked. Um,
And probably gonna have the best O line in the country once again.
probably one of the best defenses.
They usually do, but I think their defense does get exposed. I think their defense is a little bit worse than what people's are a little bit worse
Yeah,
than people's well, I cannot talk. I think their defense is not as good as what people say it is. I mean, obviously giving up what 27 points against Georgia in the first half, but that we can't talk about 2 years ago, and then
um,
giving up 51 to TCU in the Fiesta Bowl.
yeah, yeah. Their defense, I think it gets exposed a little bit, especially losing a few guys. But they're gonna have Will Johnson stepping up, who I think is gonna be very good.
Will Johnson is a very good corner. He plays lockdown defense, and um, there is a corner that I am forgetting.
Yeah.
Mike Sanders. I think
Oh
Mike
yeah,
Sanders
Mike
still.
Sanders still very good slot guy. Obviously very versatile, moving from offense to defense.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty solid on offense, but I think he is the defensive player. He reminds me of a Jabril Peppers type of player.
Yeah, he's very versatile.
Yeah, and I think that's really it for Michigan. I think they will go 11-1 or 12-0.
Yeah. I next team we're gonna talk about Ohio State. Um,
I think
obviously,
the Buckeyes will go 11-1. Book it.
obviously losing C.J. Stroud and Jackson Smith and Jigba, who really didn't
But
play
they
last year.
are bringing in the four-star QB McCord, who I think will get better as the year goes on. Marvin Harrison Jr., Emeka Buka, Julian Fleming.
They
So
have
still obviously very
Cardell
good
Tate.
receivers.
Cardell Tate also.
Cardell Tate, yeah. And then you're bringing back Travion Henderson,
Mayan Williams.
Mine Williams, yeah, him too. So
Very solid offense.
very good offense. I think their offense still will be the best in the Big Ten.
Yeah, their offense is obviously star studded. Like their offense is very good.
I think their O line is probably what they need to improve on, as it did get exposed in the Michigan game.
Yeah. They're also losing two of their tackles, which does not help that at all.
Yeah, I think they're gonna need to recruit some O line. So they recruit some O line, and their defense is definitely a big thing, allowing 45 points to the Wolverines at home in a 22-point loss.
Yeah, their defense is gonna need vast improving.
Yeah, their defense is honestly their biggest thing.
Yeah, that's gonna be a problem next year. Um, another team to talk about, Penn State. Um,
And
Drew,
actually, we did forget about somebody on the Michigan Wolverines. We forgot about Cornelius Johnson.
yes, we did forget about Cornelius Johnson. He's very solid.
I mean, obviously was dusting the Ohio State corners. Didn't really see much of him in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't see a lot of him, but I feel like we saw Ronnie Bell the most.
Yeah, Ronnie Bell. Well, never mind. We can't talk about them. So yeah, we are on to Penn State.
Yeah,
Um, Drew Aller, 5-star recruit, the third best prospect in, I think it was the class of 2021.
yeah, Drew Aller, obviously very good. I think he's gonna be very solid for the Nittany Lions this year, especially as he develops. I think he can make Penn State one of the best teams in the nation, with also having running backs like Katron Allen and Nick Singleton.
Yeah, I think Penn State. Y'all might call me crazy, but I think Penn State has more talented backs than Michigan. I saw this TikTok video where this dude did say Michigan runs good because their O line. Penn State runs good because their backs are talented. That is factual. I think if you put Katron Allen and Nick Singleton on that Michigan O line, I think they're both Heisman type players.
Honestly, Nick Singleton. I mean, Penn State had a good O line, but it wasn't Michigan level, and Nick Singleton was obviously so good. And Katron Allen also, when he came in, he was so good, and they are both super talented. Along with Michigan not really being as talented, but still very good.
Yeah, I think Penn State's passing offense won't be great, but I think their run game will be where it's at for them.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
their defense will be very good.
Obviously, Penn State always has a pretty good defense. I
Yeah,
think they contend with Ohio State and Michigan for the best team in the Big Ten East.
I see Penn State going 10-2. I really do. I don't think they'll beat Michigan
Like
or
I can really see them beating Michigan because of the reason it's going to be a whiteout in Penn State. with that kind of talent on offense, I think they would be able to score with Michigan while also having a defense to kind of resist a little bit. So I could see them beating Michigan, but I think Michigan probably would win, but that's probably the Wolverines' most uh
That
daunting game.
I think the Wolverines probably roll through Ohio State again.
Honestly, yeah, because Ohio State, if Ohio State's going to beat Michigan, they're going to need to use their defense.
Yeah, they will need to use their defense, but um, is that all the teams you're talking about?
We can talk about Wisconsin, who obviously has a new coach, Luke Fickle.
Graham Mertz is gone, but Braylon Allen, very good. And then we got Tanner Mordecai as their new quarterback coming in.
Yeah, Tanner Mordecai, obviously a very talented passer, but he was not playing the highest level of talent. He's definitely going to be challenged against the Big Ten competition, but he's
Yeah,
obviously very good. We saw him throw 7 touchdowns in a game.
yeah. Tanner Mordecai, Braylon Allen. About all I could think of, to be honest. Wisconsin has always had a great running game, great defense every single year, and that's really all there is about the Badgers.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be
I think
very
they'll go
improved.
7-5 or 8-4, so a better year, than what they had this year
I
or
think
last
I
year.
think it's going to take like a 2 or 3 year window for them to really be competing for
Yeah,
like
I do think
winning
they
the
will
Big
have.
Ten.
I do think they will have to, you know, recruit some more guys. Maybe get a 4 or 5 stars, and they'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're like a old school type team. They love to run and play good hard nosed defense.
As most of the Big Ten.
But I think Luke Fickle's gonna try to modernize them a little bit while also keeping that Badger um pride.
Yeah, I think Wisconsin will just be pretty average football team, about 7-5, 8-4, somewhere around that.
Yeah, we can talk about Iowa, who is bringing in Cade McNamara and Eric All from Michigan.
I I really don't like Caden McNamara. He makes a lot of bad mistakes.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna
And
be if you're gonna be labeled as like a field general type guy, you need to make good decisions.
yeah, and another guy on Michigan we did forget about was Colston Loveland.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, back to Iowa. Caden McNamara, I would say is about an average Big Ten quarterback. And I
yeah.
think Eric All will be a very, very, very good tight end. I think he may be one of the best tight ends. He could be like a Sam Laporta like type player. But I think he may be better than Sam Laporta.
Yeah, I can see that. He was
And
obviously
Iowa,
very good in that 2021 year for Michigan.
but yeah, also Iowa obviously has a really good defense every year. Their running game is always pretty decent. I mean, they've had very good running backs, but I
Hopefully for
mean,
them, Cade McNamara and Eric All can improve their passing game over Spencer Petras, obviously. And I don't think Cade McNamara is really the guy that's gonna go win you a game by himself, but he can be a decent quarterback if you want to have a good football team.
yeah, and I think that's it about the Iowa Hawkeyes. Great defense. Their offense will be improved,
Um,
and I think Iowa will go about similar to what Wisconsin does
yeah, I think it's gonna be those two probably for the East.
for the for the East. You mean for the West?
Yeah, the West. I mean, um,
Yeah, I think Michigan comes out of the West, and I think
you mean the East?
yeah the East. My fault. I think Michigan comes out of the East, and though either of those two come out of the West. But I will give the slight edge to Iowa because they are more experienced. So I think we will get a Michigan-Iowa Big Ten rematch. I think Michigan wins that, but sorry, Michigan fans. I think you guys will lose in the college football playoffs again.
Yeah, I really think in the East, I think it's gonna be Michigan, then Penn State, then Ohio State. I really think Penn State's gonna be better than Ohio State.
I don't. I don't see it. Penn State always just goes about 10-2.
I don't know. I like this team for some reason. The last team
They
I want
will.
to talk about is obviously Michigan State.
Yeah, they're poor. They're not gonna. I don't see them being anything good. I think like 6-6 at best.
Yeah, Mel Tucker, he's being a good recruiter, but for next year, obviously this year's class wasn't very good. With Peyton Thorne transferring out, which a lot of Spartan fans like, because they did not like him very much.
And Keon Coleman, obviously, a really good wide receiver.
Yeah, that's a bad loss for them. They're really gonna need like Trey Mosley and
Trey
Maurice
Mosley to step
Foster.
up. Foster is another one, and then you got Antonio Gates Jr. Three guys need to step up. I mean, Jalen Berger and Jarek Broussard, not a
Um,
not a bad
Nathan
running back duo.
Nathan Carter also. I
Mason
mean,
Carter, yeah. And then you got Noah Kim, who looked pretty decent in the games he played in last year.
yeah, he showed some promise for sure.
Their defense is where Mel Tucker needs to improve it. Scotty Hazelton, the defensive coordinator, I think he's the problem. I don't like the style he runs. He seems like he runs more of a prevent defense, giving up easy 10-yard passes every play.
Yeah, I feel like he either running all out blitzes, which do not work, or either prevent.
Yeah, and I don't like it. I mean, I
He's
like
not
a cover
creative.
six type defense, like a cover six.
He's not creative at all.
Yeah, he throws the same plays at every offense, and they do start to figure it out.
Yeah, they pick it apart pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean it showed against Minnesota. I mean Minnesota was easily passing on Michigan State. And that I mean Minnesota's not a great passing team.
Yeah, and is there anything else you would like to talk about the Big Ten?
I would not like anything to talk about the Big Ten.
Right, well, this is gonna wrap up episode 2 of the Rebound Redux podcast. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Goodbye.